Welcome back to the University of Melbourne Biology series. This is episode 14b, and today we ask how a single body can be made of trillions of cells and still act as one coordinated whole. Think of your own hand. The skin on the surface, the muscle that moves your fingers, the blood inside, the nerves that let you feel a touch. These are wildly different materials, yet they are assembled into one organ that works as a unit. How does life pull that off? The answer is organization. Over the next 12 minutes we will climb a ladder, from specialized cells, up through tissues, into organs, and finally into the systems that keep an organism alive. We will compare the 4 kinds of animal tissue, watch them combine into organs, and then see how plants solve the very same problem in their own way. Let us begin. Start with the big picture. A multicellular organism is not just a heap of identical cells. It is organized hierarchically, level building on level. At the bottom are specialized cell types, cells that have committed to a particular job. These specialized cells differentiate into tissues. Tissues in turn combine to form functional organs. And organs coordinate with one another to create functional systems. Read that ladder from the bottom up and you have the whole logic of the body in one sentence. Cells become tissues, tissues become organs, organs work together as systems. Each step adds a new layer of teamwork, and at every step the parts are doing something none of them could do alone. This single idea, organization through a hierarchy of specialized parts, is what makes the complexity of multicellular life possible, and it is the thread that ties this entire episode together. Let us land on the second rung of that ladder, the tissue, and meet the animal version. In animals, tissues fall into 4 categories: epithelial, connective, muscle, and nervous. That is the entire cast, just 4. What makes them a useful set is that each type has its own distinct structure and its own distinct function, and together they contribute to the overall organization and function of the organism. So before we examine them one at a time, hold the headline in mind. 4 tissue types, 4 different jobs, all cooperating inside the same body. The power of this scheme is that almost every organ you can name is built by mixing these same 4 ingredients in different proportions. Master these 4, and you have the building blocks for the entire animal body. Take the first 2 tissue types together, because they make a nice contrast. Epithelial tissues are the coverings and the linings. Their job is to cover and to line surfaces, forming the sheets that wrap the outside of the body and line its internal spaces. Wherever one compartment meets another, you tend to find epithelium standing at the boundary. Connective tissues play a very different role. Rather than covering surfaces, they provide support and protection, holding the body together and shielding its parts. So already you can see the structure to function logic at work. One tissue specializes in forming boundaries and surfaces, the other in support and protection. Same body, 2 complementary strategies, and neither could do the other's job. Keep that pairing in mind, because real organs lean on both at once, aligning to face the world and a supporting framework behind it. Now the second pair, muscle and nervous tissue, and these 2 are all about action and control. Muscle tissue is the tissue that enables movement. When something in the body has to move, whether that is a limb swinging or material being pushed through a tube, muscle tissue is what makes it happen. Nervous tissue is the communication network. Its role is to transmit signals, carrying information from place to place so the body's parts can act in a coordinated way. Notice how beautifully these 2 complement each other. Muscle generates the movement, and nervous tissue carries the signals that tell the muscle when and how to move. Action and instruction, working as a pair. With all 4 types now on the table, covering and lining, support and protection, movement, and signaling, we are ready for the real question: how do these very different tissues come together into a single working organ? Here is the key move, the one named directly in our learning objective. Different tissue types combine to form a functional organ. An organ is not made from a single tissue. It is an assembly, a place where several of those 4 tissue types are brought together so that the whole performs a job none of the tissues could manage alone. Picture the principle in action. A working organ might need an epithelial lining to cover its surfaces, connective tissue to support and hold it together, muscle tissue to produce movement within it, and nervous tissue to transmit the signals that coordinate everything. Each tissue brings its own specialized contribution, and the organ is the sum of those contributions. This is exactly the third rung of our ladder. Specialized cells differentiated into tissues, and now tissues combine into a functional organ. Organization, once again, is the whole secret. Climb one rung higher and organs themselves start working in teams. An organ system is composed of multiple organs that work together to perform a specific function. No single organ acts entirely alone, just as no single tissue did. Instead, organs are grouped into systems, and each system carries out a major task for the body. Think of the familiar examples. The respiratory system, the circulatory system, and the digestive system are each built from several organs working together. And these systems are not luxuries. Each one is essential for the overall health and survival of the organism. So the same theme keeps repeating as we climb. Cells cooperate as tissues, tissues cooperate as organs, and now organs cooperate as systems. At every level the message is identical. The whole achieves what the parts cannot, and survival depends on that cooperation holding together from top to bottom. So far everything has been animal. But plants are multicellular too, and they face exactly the same challenge of organizing many cells into one functioning body. They solve it with the very same logic we have been building, a hierarchy of specialized parts, tissues combining into organs, organs coordinating into systems. The cast of characters is different, but the script is the same. This is one of the satisfying patterns in biology. Two very different kinds of life, plants and animals, arriving independently at the same organizing principle. Build from specialized cells, group them into tissues, assemble tissues into organs, and let organs work together. So let us cross over to the plant side and see how that familiar ladder is built from a different set of materials, starting, as before, with the tissues. Where animals have 4 tissue types, plants have 3, dermal, vascular, and ground. Each one has its own specialization, and the trio divides the work of the plant neatly between them. Dermal tissues form the outer covering. They protect the plant and they exchange gases with the environment, so they handle both defense and breathing at the surface. Vascular tissues are the plumbing. Their job is to transport water and nutrients through the plant, moving these essentials from where they are taken up to where they are needed. And ground tissues fill the rest. They support the plant body and they store nutrients. Line that up against the animal scheme and the parallel is striking. A protective covering tissue, an internal transport role, and a supporting tissue all reappear, just packaged into 3 plant types instead of 4 animal ones. Now combine those 3 tissues, exactly as we combined the animal 4. The plant tissues are integrated into organs such as roots, stems, and leaves. Each of these is an organ in its own right, built by integrating dermal, vascular, and ground tissue into one working structure. And just like animal organs, plant organs are organized into organ systems. A flowering plant has 2, the root system and the shoot system. These systems are composed of organs that work together to meet the plant's metabolic and structural needs, including nutrient absorption, anchoring, and growth. So a root system anchors the plant and draws in what it needs, while the shoot system handles the plant's metabolic work above ground. The same ladder we climbed for animals stands here too. Tissues integrated into organs, organs gathered into systems, the whole plant kept alive by cooperation across every level. Let us pull the whole episode together. We started with one question: how does a body of countless cells act as a single coordinated whole? The answer was organization, a hierarchy that climbs from specialized cells, to tissues, to organs, to systems. In animals we met 4 tissue types: epithelial covering and lining, connective supporting and protecting, muscle moving, and nervous signaling, and we watched them combine into functional organs and then into systems essential for survival. In plants we found the same ladder built from 3 tissues, dermal, vascular, and ground, integrated into roots, stems, and leaves, and gathered into root and shoot systems. Different parts, identical principle. Life builds complexity not by making cleverer cells, but by organizing specialized parts into ever larger cooperating wholes. That is the architecture of every multicellular body. See you next time.